You know what's wrong? The liberal agenda. That's what's wrong. And they're processing it through the churches, and I don't care what they say. They can call me Uncle Tom. They can call me sellout. I'm not a sellout. I'm buying in. I'm buying in. And if buying in makes me a sellout, somebody please get me the hat. Get me the shirt. Next time I come out here, and you're going to see me say a buy-in and sellout shirt. How about that? Because I'm proud to be an American. I don't care about trying to fit into an agenda. And you know what? So many people, especially, unfortunately, many of African Americans are still caught up in this whole concept of slavery. Man, when are we going to get past this thing? You know, how long are we going to go past? How long are we going to go along saying, oh my God, we were slaves? You know, guess what? 300 years later, or should I say, no, let's go back to 1965. All these years after the Great Society, which I think is the worst thing that ever happened to America, okay? $7 trillion later, I say it's time that any black American stop looking for 40 acres and a mule. What do you say? See, I was talking to somebody about Martin Luther King Jr. I really admired Dr. King. But see, when Dr. King was assassinated, he was organizing what was called a Poor People's Campaign. How many of you know that? But this was 4 years after the Voting Rights Act. I think it was 4 years or 3 years after the Civil Rights Act. See, something was wrong though, because after the Civil Rights Act was passed, and this is no disrespect to Dr. King, but I think what was happening is that he and many other black leaders were so caught up in what had happened between 55 and 65 that they forgot that it was time to transition. Because once we got the Civil Rights Act and once we got the Voting Rights Act, there was no need to talk about that anymore. You understand what I'm telling you? Okay, we got what we asked for. Now the question should have been, what are you going to do with it? What you should do with it is take responsibility for your life now. Because there's no excuse now. In America, I don't care what your issues are. I don't care if somebody says, well, there's institutional racism. I don't know. If there is, so what? I don't care. What does that got to do with whether I tell my children to respect themselves and respect their parents? What does that got to do? You want to tell me it's government's fault that these schools are failing? I don't buy that. When you send a little terrorist to school because you raised a sugar baby who doesn't want to listen to the teacher because you let the television screen and the game box raise your child from the age of 2 to the age of 5, and then you want to tell somebody that it's the government's fault? The government isn't the parent. The government, that I say we need limited government. Limited government, they need to stay out of our business. They need to let America, who's for the people, of the people, truly be run by the people. Are you with that? I want to know, is this Southwest Michigan Tea Party really is, are you about it? You know I got to urbanize you a little bit, right? When I leave here, they're going to say, hey, he taught us some black language, whatever that means. I told the gentleman over here, I said, look, I'm going to try not to use Ebonics, okay? You know, I really want you to take me seriously today. But really, this is a very serious time in America. And liberals, they're trying to take it down. They want to raise the tax cap. You know what they want to do? I say no. I say no. Isn't it interesting that liberals want American government to practice principles that most of them wouldn't even teach their own children? Isn't that something? They wouldn't tell most of their own children to spend something they don't have. Now think about it. You know what they're trying to do? This is going to sound like an extreme analogy, but I really believe it's this serious. It's like giving a crack addict a pound of powder cocaine and think you're tricking him into stop using dope. Are you serious? You know what he's going to do? He's going to go cook it, isn't he? And so think, if you raise the debt ceiling, people, we will rise to that level. Why? Just because we can. Just because we can. So you know what we need to do? We need to cut entitlements. That's what we need to do. We need to cut down entitlements. We need to, you know what? We need to start with the welfare reform. We need to start drug testing people. I bet you that takes about 30% of people off that welfare roll. Huh? Somebody says, oh my God, you're so cruel. What about the babies? You know what? That'll save the babies. Because many of those babies are suffering from abuse and neglect because you got drug addict or crack addict or alcoholic or irresponsible parents who aren't being tested, so the nation really doesn't know what's going on in the homes. So if you start testing these people, guess what? You start finding out what's really going on in the homes. In America, we have the resources we need to help these children, but in the name of altruism, we can't keep taking our country down with entitlements. So I say cut the entitlements. Say no to the debt ceiling being raised and cut entitlements. Cut entitlements. Let me tell you something. I am so proud of Tea Party Patriots. I really am. And to black people that call you racist, I laugh and I tell them you don't even know what that means. Are you serious? Can you spell it? Usually they can't. I'm just joking. Because anybody that would say that, they can't possibly be well read. Okay? Really. Because the word racism, in most cases, when they're using that word, it's a misnomer. Okay? The word racism, really, it has to do with a doctrine or an ideology. You know, it's deeper than just a prejudice or a dislike. That's not racism. And one of the things about black America that we really have to understand, most of us have to start learning, is how to differentiate between perceived victimization and actual victimization. And just because you don't agree with somebody who's white, don't make them a racist. Am I right about it? Yeah. You know. So my thing is, you guys, I tell them, you know what? Instead of you criticizing and condemning and judging, you need to model what they do. You know, you're always whining about you don't have, nobody pays attention to our community. Well, you don't vote. You don't vote. If I were a legislator and you never voted, guess where I would be spending the least time at? You know, think about it. Because you don't have my back. Why would I spend? It's not that the legislator should not care about all voters, but if you don't have my back, I'm going to spend most of my time where? With the people who have my back. But if you only show up and you only vote at a 10% or a 15% clip, now you want to blame America for you don't even practice citizenship. Okay? This is what I'm saying. This is what the liberals are doing. And you have people like, I call them Al woe unto me Harpin Sharpton. Al woe unto me Harpin Sharpton. You know? I think he's a communist. What do you think? Huh? I think he's a communist. I don't believe, when I listen to him, I don't hear an American. I hear a communist. I hear a Marxist. What do you think? You know, I think we ought to take his citizenship. Y'all gonna get me in trouble out here, aren't you? Listen, I hear Monday that Jesse Lights Cameras Action Jackson is gonna be here in Kalamazoo. Because you know, if he doesn't have the lights, cameras, and action, and nobody's saying woe unto me, he's not coming, is he? I'm thinking about staying here till Monday and standing on the steps of the Capitol like Moses did with the Pharaoh and said, Jesse, let my people go. Let my people go, Jesse. Let them go from your lies. Let them go from the propaganda. He is a poverty pimp, my brothers and sisters. Let's expose him for what he is, a poverty pimp, a charlatan, a liar. Because you know what, as long as people like that live in our country, they'll make people, you know, because you got white people that love Jesse Jackson, they must be crazy. I mean, the liberals are smart. These are, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make white people, we're going to make them the head of the NAACP. We're going to fake people out. They're not fooling us, are they? We see them for what they are, don't we? You see? So we need to expose these liberals who are trying to abuse our country. They're trying to undermine our education. And speaking of education, listen, isn't it interesting that liberals are crying about the budget cuts? Now, let me see now. Detroit has almost every school in their districts are failing, am I right? Now, this happened under the budget that was in place before the governor's recommendation, am I right? So you mean to tell me that the governor's cuts are going to ruin the Detroit school system? Are they crazy? Oh, really? Have you been to Detroit lately, people? It's going to ruin the nation, huh? Okay. So, okay, let me see. So with all the inner cities or all the schools that are failing in Michigan, if you show some fiscal responsibility, for example, they're whining because we want to cut Head Start. Guess what? Head Start is manipulating America. How about that? Head Start, if you do your homework, you'll find out that they're not doing what they're telling America they're doing. They're taking money and paying administrative fees, but they're not making the impact on the children the way they're telling America that they're doing. So again, if we cut entitlements, we don't have to raise the debt ceiling. Look at this kind of thing. We got to do something about that. Now listen, I won't keep you long, but I want you to know we want your support. The Frederick Douglass Foundation of Michigan. Do we have it? Yes. Do we have it? Yes. You can go online and see us at www.fdfofmichigan.com. www.fdfofmichigan.com. Now I also want to bring you our regards from Linda Lee Tarver, who is the ethnic vice chair for the state of Michigan. She says, "What's up, Southwest Michigan?" She is for you. She's a wonderful leader. You're going to be proud of her, and she is somebody that you're going to be hearing a lot of, a lot from, and I'm telling you about her because she's also an advisor to the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Michigan. And we want to come back to Kalamazoo. Can we come back here? Yes. Can I come back here? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Am I safe? I'm safer here than I am around liberals. I'm telling you, I'm Uncle Tom's, I'm all sorts of things to them. Half of them don't even know me, so they're the ones I'm afraid of. I'm proud to be here today. I won't keep you long, but let me just say one last thing. Here's the other thing. Excuse me, I don't have any water. I talk too much, don't I? That's when you know you talk too much. Your mouth starts getting dry. Usually it's a sign, okay, it's time to shut up, Stacy, But I'm hard-headed. I'm just going to keep talking with a dry mouth. That okay with you for a second? One last thing. I'm really concerned about what's happening with the families in America. Now, when we talk about entitlements, I don't really think that's unique to black people. I happen to be black, so I can talk about that. But, well, as I heard, Now, actually, I saw a movie. I think it was an old Richard Pryor movie with Billy D. Williams. It was called Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars. Anybody ever heard this old movie? And Richard Pryor. So the movie was about a Negro baseball league and a baseball team. It was a Negro baseball team that was trying to break into the big leagues. And Richard Pryor's character kept playing a different role, trying to break into the big leagues. He said, so that one day he would say, you know what? I'm going to try to get in the major leagues as a Cuban. So that's the great thing about my skin color. I can be many things. This week I'm black. Next week I might be Hispanic. The week after that I might decide to be Cuban. I can be many things. See, I know y'all jealous of that, aren't you? So next week I'm going to be a Cuban American. Don't pay me any attention, okay? But the entitlement thing, it's really doing a number to our country. It's really doing a number to our country. That's something we got to fight. And I'm telling you something, I'm really upset about the fact that some of our Republicans caved in on this last go around. Okay? I'm upset about that. That's what I love about you guys. You guys, your allegiance are to principles. You see? Your allegiance are to principles. Now, I'm a Republican. I am a member of the Saginaw County Executive Board for the GOP. I'm very active, but I'm going to tell you something. My first loyalty is to America. It's to America, and that's what I love about Tea Party Patriots. And that's why whenever you call, guess what? I'm going to come. I'm going to come. I'm going to come. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm your brother. I hope you're mine. Are you my brothers? Are you my sisters? Let me wrap this up and ask the Tea Party Patriots, if you enjoyed this, if you're with the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Michigan, let me hear you make some noise. God bless you.